This is Hannibal here from thehannibaltv.com. A little bit shaken from being yelled at by Mario Mancini, who I'm actually going to see in person June 29th. I thought I would surprise him with his opponent for June 29th on the podcast, but his opponent couldn't figure out StreamYard. When I told him about this, and I guess he wasn't prepared, he cut the interview short by about 12 minutes. Other than that, it was a good interview, but someone had commented earlier if something was wrong with him because he seemed a little off at various points in the interview. I don't know where the temper tantrum came from, but the link is in the description if you want to watch it. Let me get into the news. WWE talent Kayla Braxton, who's a popular announcer, is going to be finishing up with the company next week. Will she be going to AEW? Who knows? They're offering a lot of money to a lot of people. Speaking of AEW, a lot of people are saying this forbidden door should be closed because nobody gives a damn anymore, other than the smartest of smart marks about all these Japanese and CMLL people. Nobody in North America knows taking up screen time. Tony Khan said in an interview today he really enjoys working with CMLL and expects a really long, fruitful relationship. Here's one of the things about AEW that drives me crazy. They did Rampage last night, which more people from North America, where their events are actually held, and people that are actually going to buy their pay-per-views, more North Americans are going to be in it. But they didn't have any. The biggest star on Rampage last night was Willow Nightingale. Meanwhile, Mercedes Monet, who both of these women wrestlers look great, and Mercedes Monet sure looks like a star, but she's in CMLL rather than on the actual AEW TV show last night. And John Moxley was in Japan wrestling for Bloodsport, which I think this was a Bloodsport that Josh Barnett, who I am interviewing soon again, by the way, he was supposed to do it this week, but he got too busy, but it's going to happen soon. I don't know who actually funded this company, but supposedly someone in Japan funded this Bloodsport show where the main event was John Moxley beating Josh Barnett. But again, there's no video of this Bloodsport show online yet. I haven't even seen a picture from it. And Moxley wasn't on Rampage. I love Moxley. I want to wrestle him one day. All I'm saying is AEW is letting their people wrestle for all these other companies, and meanwhile, there's pretty much no names on their actual TV shows that nobody knows. So the forbidden door is what you let all your stars wrestle for other companies, and we get the no names on your show. Which, by the way, you don't have a new TV deal signed yet, and you lost 34 million last year. To me, what annoys me about Tony Khan, and I hate to go on this rant, but it's like he doesn't give a crap about what people actually want other than what the smart marks want. Is like maybe he just doesn't care because his dad's a multi billionaire. But it's like people are you just got your lowest rating ever for Dynamite, 0.16. The development show NXT Beat Ya did a 0.26, and you're still yapping about CMLL and New Japan, which he also commented on New Japan, by the way. He said under President Hiroshi Tanahashi, the New Japan relationship has only got stronger and better. So of course it's getting stronger and better. Like you're featuring all their talent on your show. And by the way, New Japan, this is shoot. This is shoot. New Japan is at possibly its lowest popularity of all time right now. How are featuring stars that aren't even that popular in Japan overall on American TV when we don't even know them. How is that gonna make the product better? Meanwhile, you have Jeff Hardy was sitting out for months. People like Jack Swagger were sitting out for months. Arn Anderson was barely doing anything. Jake the Snake, who I'm just saying, there's better options. You let CM Punk go, who is now arguably the number one full-time talent, most over full-time talent in WWE. You let him go, and Jim Ross commented. Jim Ross is a guy you should be listening to. Jim Ross commented that he misses CM Punk. He thought CM Punk contributed greatly to AEW, and to be perfectly candid, he wishes CM Punk was still in AEW. Big mistake. I mean, yeah, there was backstage issues. There can be ways of resolving them. The inmates were running the asylum too much there. Anyways, it kind of gives me a headache to talk about, but I just can't believe, with all the problems with nobody caring about AEW, Tony Khan is doing interviews today talking about CMLL and New Japan, which people don't give a crap about. I'm sorry. Only the smart marks care about that. Your average people like me, I do not want to watch that. I have zero interest in watching it. I may have cared when it was just here and there, but you've now oversaturated it so much, I just don't care. And I'm sorry, but that really annoys me. Matt Riddle, by the way, who no-showed a couple of events last weekend due to an Uber issue, he's saying, is actually in Mexico tonight for AAA TV tapings. As far as that Bloodsport show, Mike O'Hearn, the bodybuilder who I have interviewed, he was advertised to be on that show. I've read the results. I can't see that Mike O'Hearn was actually on it. If anyone can correct me on that or clarify why Mike O'Hearn was not on the Bloodsport show in Japan, let me know. Hello, James. Good evening, Humble. New Japan is getting a clip by Pro Wrestling Noah. Well, now the WWE is working with Pro Wrestling Noah, and AJ Styles is going to be wrestling for Noah. It certainly has a buzz to it. I al- I know John Moxley is the New Japan champion, but I don't know any of the people John Moxley is wrestling. The Josh Barnett show was a separate show. The guy that AJ Styles is wrestling in Noah, I can't remember his name. I'm sorry, but I have heard of him, and I have met him. What about, as CM Punk said, I got to agree with, honestly, I used to not like CM Punk, and he may not be my favorite wrestler, but I do respect him now, and I do agree with CM Punk. He's not running it like a business. He's running it like he wants to run it. And honestly, the ratings are very reflective of how little people give a crap about the product right now. I wish I had a multi-billionaire dad that would let me run a company however I wanted. I really do. But who wouldn't? Someone says it doesn't matter. There's endless amounts of money to keep AEW alive. That's another thing CM Punk said. AEW will exist as long as Tony Khan wants it to exist. It's a tax write-off. They have endless amounts of money. They can pay people to sit at home and do nothing, which they do. It's really easy to be a wrestler these days with the amount of money they make and the schedule that they have. Humble, let's get a woman's perspective. Tony Khan is doing interviews instead of going after a TV deal. And that reminds me of and I mean, even Dave Meltzer, who used to be totally on AEW side, he's even being honest about it. Why is no one even really knows anything about the current AEW champion? Why don't they put him out there doing interviews more? It's Tony Khan always doing interviews. It's like he loves being on camera so much. It's always Tony Khan on these interviews rather than I know Edge has like a foot injury, but he could still do interviews. I mean, CM Punk made appearances with an arm injury. There's more famous people. You can mix it up rather than Khan doing the interviews all the time. Someone says it's Sonic the Hedgehog's birthday tomorrow. There you go. I used to play that game. Someone Humble says it's really concerning. Well, good for the people that are on that gravy train. As someone that works very hard for their money, I have to say I am jealous, 100%. But I really don't like their current product and the direction of their company. I'll tell you honestly, I have no ties to WWE whatsoever. I was able to watch numerous clips from SmackDown, from CM Punk on SmackDown, Jacob Fatu on SmackDown. I don't even like Cody Rhodes, but I like what they did with Fatu and Cody Rhodes. I'll admit when I think something's good, I haven't seen anything good in AEW for a long time. Remember, TNT did not give pro wrestling a spot for 20 years after WCW. I think it is concerning, as you say, Humble 85, that they haven't signed a new TV deal and they're reaching like really, really scary level ratings. And what does he do? Continues to talk about CMLL in New Japan. Nobody cares. That's what's got you to the place you're at.